Governor Sarah Palin of the great state of Alaska.
From the moment John McCain surprised America with his choice of running mate, she's been presented at every campaign stop as a great American story.
My mom and dad both worked at the local elementary school, and my husband and I, we both grew up working with our hands.
The one-time beauty queen, now a working mother of 5, whose interest in public service took her from the local schoolhouse to the State House
As governor of the state of Alaska,
to a chance at being a heartbeat away from the White House. But as you get to know Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, you discover that, like so many American stories, hers is part fact and part fable, and a lot of that gray area in between that's hard to pin down in modern American politics. In hindsight, her story reads like a straight shot to the top, but we now know there have been a few detours along the way. Before graduating from the University of Idaho, Palin also spent time at Hawaii Pacific University, North Idaho College, and Matanuska-Susitna College in Alaska.
The Iditarod, of course, is the biggie, but it's not the only mushing going on.
After college, she worked as a TV sports reporter at a local station in Anchorage.
Persons John Schandelmeyer and Dennis Coggo grabbed the 6th, 7th, and 8th spots.
There have also been challenges at home.
you know, from the inside, no family ever seems typical.
The Palins' youngest son, Trig, was born last spring with Down syndrome, and their teenage daughter, Bristol, is pregnant.
Our family has the same ups and downs as any other, the same challenges and the same joys.
We wish you well. We're all behind you.
But throughout her time in public office, Palin has remained remarkably popular on the job, her approval rating hovering over 80%, the highest of any governor in the nation. At the Republican convention, she introduced herself to the rest of the country.
And I stood up to the special interests and the lobbyists and the big oil companies and the good old boys.
And if you enjoyed that speech 2 weeks ago in Minnesota, you've gotten the chance to relive it in Colorado.
I had to stand up to the special interests and the lobbyists and the big oil companies and the good old boys network.
Pennsylvania.
I shook up the old system and took on the good old boys.
Missouri.
I shook up the old system and took on the good old boys.
And many other places. Until now, that's about all we'd heard from Sarah Palin.
Why is she scared to answer questions?
She's not scared to answer questions, but you know what? We run our campaign, not the news media, and we'll do things on our timetable.
It hasn't stopped voters, reporters, and the Obama campaign from asking questions about the accuracy of many statements in that now often repeated campaign speech.
I championed reform to end the abuses of earmark spending by Congress.
In fact, as mayor of Wasilla, Palin was responsible for spearheading the effort to acquire federal earmarks for the town, and she was good at it, securing $27 million for what was then a town of roughly 6,000 people. When she ran for governor, Sarah Palin supported what became the poster child project for abuse of congressional spending, a $398 million so-called bridge to nowhere.
I would not get in the way of progress of this project or other projects that they're working so hard on.
She says she later changed her position, which is what she emphasizes these days.
I told the Congress, thanks, but no thanks on that bridge to nowhere.
But by the time Palin told Congress no thanks, Congress had stopped asking. The earmark for the bridge had been removed, but not the money. That still went to Alaska for general transportation construction. Governor Palin spent some of it to build this, the road to nowhere, a $48 million road that you can only see from the air.
I came to office promising major ethics reform to end the culture of self-dealing.
But this week there were questions about whether Palin herself was setting the right standard. Alaska reimburses government workers $60 a day when they're out of town on business. Governor Palin billed the state $17,000 for nights spent at her family's home in Wasilla rather than the governor's mansion in Juneau. Technically, it's allowed, but many say frowned upon.
I got rid of a few things in the governor's office that I didn't believe our citizens should have to pay for. That luxury jet was over the top.
With no jet, Palin has billed the state of Alaska $43,490 for flying her family around the state, another practice her opponents are questioning.
position.
The biggest local controversy surrounding Governor Palin involves what's being billed as Troopergate.
When that then has sparked such an investigation.
An ethics investigation is underway to determine if Governor Palin and perhaps her husband pressured the state's Department of Public Safety commissioner to dismiss Palin's brother-in-law, an Alaska state trooper who went through a messy divorce from the governor's sister. The commissioner was fired in July, and just today, Alaska lawmakers moved forward to subpoena 13 people, including Todd Palin. Beyond her own life story, people are also waiting for the chance to ask Sarah Palin about issues that are important to them: abortion, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the environment. Where she stands on these issues are so important that some of her best friends, who are quick to praise Sarah Palin, the woman,
she's honest as the day is long,
are reluctant to endorse Sarah Palin, the candidate, until they hear more about where she stands on what's important to them.
I'm real excited to see the debates and make up my mind, but I'm not committed.
Perhaps the most memorable line from Palin's acceptance speech was this one.
When the cloud of rhetoric has passed, when the roar of the crowd fades away, what exactly is our opponent's plan?
The next Vice President of the United States of America is in the House.
And with Obama-sized crowds now roaring for her, many Obama supporters are asking the Republicans the same thing.